So SAP, SAP, the security is very important here. For SAP systems, applications, the security is important here. Not only security, so depends upon the your role, depends upon the, your designation. So we need to provide the so roles and authorizations to the so respective people, respective business users here, right? So here, first of all, so what is security here? What is SAP security here? What is SAP security here? Why we need security here? So SAP security is providing right level access, correct access to business users with respect to their authority, with respect to their responsibility. We are giving the permissions to the, so we are giving the permissions to the according to their roles here. Depends upon the their role, user role, is the developer user, is the PICO user, is the user, is the security guy, is the ABAPers, depends upon their designation. We are providing the right level access to the business users here. So not only one user for all, so one user for basis, one user for security. So we're providing the correct access to the business users according to their so responsibility and according to their roles, what they are doing here. So what is mean by roles here? So what is mean by role here? So what is mean by role here? So we discussed according to the role. So we are providing the security access to the users, right? So what is role? Role is referred to a group of actions. Maybe role is referred to a group of transaction code here. Referred to a group of T codes, a group of T codes. These T codes we will assign to the particular business task we will assign to the here. So each role there is a privilege. Each role consists of there is a privileges here. So that based upon this role, user can perform their respective action here. Suppose basis person. So only basis related transaction codes you should have access. So not related to the above related transaction code. So some other functional related transaction. So if we create the one role in the SAP, that role we have to assign to the all the basis members. So the basis people will perform the so the related work here. Related work they can perform it. The related work they can perform in the system here. Related work they can perform in the system here. So to manage the roles and authorization, so we can use the so one transaction code in SAP here to manage the roles, authorization data. We can use the one role maintenance transaction code that is called the PFCG. Why? Because before you create the role user, first of all, the user which you are creating, who is that user? What tasks he is going to perform in the SAP system here. Why? Because we need to restrict. We need to restrict the access to the user. Security only security transaction codes. Basis transaction code. Business users transaction code here. So like that, we have to segregate the roles here. That is called the segregation of duties. We need to segregate their duties according to their task which they are executing in the system here. So if you segregate it, so if you assign one role to the user, he can only perform the only that related transaction codes, not he will not touch the other transaction codes. So here the role will restrict the role will restrict the so authorizations to access the some other things and everything. The role will restrict here in the system here. The role will restrict here in the system here. That's why so we have to assign the role here. So role. We have to create the role in the PFCG. Then role we have to assign it to the user. So in that role, we will create the list of transaction codes and a list of what he required to access that and all. We will set in the role here. So role is assigned to the user. In that user, we will assign the group of transaction codes, a group of tasks, so that we create the one authorization profile here. So, okay, it will create the one profile, one authorization profile here. So what things we have to access? So when you, even though if you assign the transaction code to the particular role, then there is a authorization profile. So we can able to access or read, write, so execute what are the things. So here the profile, a profile will the profile in the role, it will restrict the, it will restrict the access to the system here. So that is the role here. So first of all, to create the role here, we can use the PFCG transaction code here. So first of all, when you build the system, we have to hand out the system to the security team here, so that the security team will create the list of roles. Every for each and every group, they will create the list of roles in the system here. So they will go to the PFCG, then they will create the roles here. They will create the roles here. This is called the role transaction code here. Role maintenance transaction code here. Role maintenance T code. Role maintenance T code here. So just to go to the PFCG, first of all, they go to the PFCG here, then go to create the role here. One role, we can create it here. Suppose the base is get basis underscore. So suppose like, so monitoring, basis monitoring L1T, only L1T. So he has to perform the, you are going to create the one monitoring transaction T code role to the user here. Just click on the single role here. Then provide the description to the role here. Just anything here. Just go to the menu here. Then save it. Then here you can go to the transaction here. Not only transaction code, you can also assign the report. You can also assign the Fury tiles, groups, BW related functionalities, data source, whatever you want to assign, you can assign to the, whatever you want to provide the access, you can provide the access to the users here. Just click on the transactions. Okay. Then what transaction code you want to assign to the, what transaction code you want to assign to the users here. Just go to the, suppose like SM50, definitely there's a monitoring transaction code. Then SM51 is a monitoring transaction code here. ST22 is a monitoring transaction code, right? SM21 is a monitoring transaction code. So then, so SU53 is a monitoring transaction code. So then, so you can just assign the this transaction codes to the SMQ1, right? So SMQ2. So like that, you can assign the multiple transaction codes to the users here. Who wants to do the, who wants to perform the these things, like which one? Who wants to do the perform the all those things? Just assign the these transactions here. Just assign the transactions to the this role. So which means, so for this role, we are assigning the list of tasks he has to execute. List of tasks he has to execute it here. List of tasks he has to execute it here. So if you execute and save it, immediately if you assign to this role to the user, he cannot perform anything here. Why? Because you are just assigning the tasks. But if you go to the authorization, if you go to the authorization here, then you need to generate the, you need to provide the authorizations here. You need to provide the authorizations here. Go to the authorizations here. You need to provide the respective authorization object to the users here. Respective authorization object you need to provide to the here. So this part is pretty, so confusion, just ignore it. Providing the assigning the authorizations to the role here. Role you created, assigning the task, then what actions they have to perform it here. Those related things you need to add it to the here. Then the respective authorization object you have to add to the this particular role here. Respective authorization object it you have to perform to the users here. Otherwise, you cannot, even though suppose I have not assigned here, right? I have not assigned anything in the system here, right? Just you have not assigned anything here, any authorizations here, just created the role. That's it. Okay. Just you created the role you created the role created, just assigned the these transactions here. Okay. So now for creation of the users, we have to do it from the, so SU01 is the transaction code. Role created. You created the role, one role you created, right? Then you are not assigned any authorization object to the role. Just you created the role. In that role, you assigned the list of transaction codes which he has to access, right? So then you create a one dummy. Now we can create the user, right? Users creation or users lock or unlock or changes, anything we have to do it in the SU01 transaction code. This is for the single user creation here. Suppose you want to create the mass user, then SU10 you can use for SU10 you can use for mass user creation. SU01 and SU10 we can use it for the mass user creation here, right? Mass user creation here. So
Like multiple users, right?
mass users means multiple users, right? Mass means multiple, more than one or more than two. So it's more than, okay? More users creation. You can use the, so SU10 here. SU01 is for the single user creation here. Just to go to the SU01 here, then just you can just create the user here. Suppose like example, I'm going to create a, so Ravi 1. Let's see here. I think user already exists. I'm going to create a Ravi 2 user here. Okay. So Ravi 2 user, I'm going to create here. So here, fill the details, all the address details, you can fill it here. First name, last name, work center, roll number, department, telephone, email address, everything you can fill it here, right? So we can fill it all the mandatory things here. Then you can see the types of use, alias name is not required here. Now types of users in the system here. We have, what is the type of user here? We have user types here. We have user types in the system here. There are the types of users here. Users types here in the system here. If you see user types here, right? So you can see here. So in SE01, you can see the types of users here. So is the dialogue user, system user, communication user, then reference user, logger not possible, and service user here. So they are the 5 types of users in the system here. 5 types of users in the system here. So for what purpose you are creating this user? So most of the users, so maybe we will log into the SAP system with the user ID and password. Then we will do our respective work, right? So here, while creating the user types here, either dialogue user, so only we are the dialogue users. All dialogue users, they can log into the system with from their SAP GUI, from browsers. They can log into the SAP system. They can do their respective work in the system here. So we are the dialogue users here. We means our IT teams, users, all are the dialogue users here. Dialogue users here. Dialogue users means dialogue process will take care of our request, user request, right? So that's why we will call it as the dialogue users. So dialogue users. So what about the system user here? System users are in the background job purpose, communication within the RFC users, workflow, TMS. So these are the system users here. So which means some users you will create system to system communication. It's not this system user cannot log into the SAP system from SAP GUI. He cannot log into the SAP system here. So only system user, maybe during the background job purpose, like in SM36, when you are creating the job, that time we have to define the user here, right? One background job user here. So then he is the system user. In the TMS RFC destination, we have the TMS ADM user. He is the system user here. So like that in the workflow, like that we will create when you are creating that type of user, you will use the system user type here, right? So then communication user. Communication user means, so dialogue free communication for external RFC calls. Suppose there are some external systems which are talking to our SAP system. So some other systems which are coming to our system is talking to them. Then who there should be some user ID we have to maintain in the some external calls, external RFC calls here. Suppose you created the one user, right? Suppose example, if you see, this is the SAP system. This is the one third party system or some other SAP external systems. I mean to say external systems outside of the system. You want to place the some data to the here, right? So then you can create the RFC destination here. In the RFC destination, you will maintain the communication user. In the logon security tab, you will maintain the communication user. Or this external system wants to place the some data in our SAP system here. Then you have to create the one user, communication user. Then this user will, why? Because if this system wants to talk to our SAP system, want to place some data inside of our SAP system, then there should be a user ID and password. So that user is called the communication user. The password is that is called the communication user. That time we can create the communication users here. So depends upon the situation, we may have to create the user here. So then reference user means it's a general non-person related activities, non-person related activities here. Suppose, so some of the like, so some identical authorizations, reference user. Suppose one person is having already access to the SE01 transaction code. You want to such access to the same my user, then you can use the SE01 reference user. Some taking the reference of the other users here. So rarely we will, so logon is not possible this user. So then service user here. Service user is dialogue user available to larger. Service user means service communication level. Anonymous group of users here. Service user is, this is a service user. Service level, some service level we will use it in SACF. Some other in SACF service level we will use the one user that is called the service users. Some users are service user. So most of the users are either dialogue and system user only. No one uses all these three here. Why? Because dialogue user, they will log into the SAP system, they will do the work here. Then system internal communications, background job, they will use the system. These two users are most frequently used users here. If you create the dialogue user, you can only log into the SAP systems here, like this here. Then you can set the password. You can set the password. If you have any group, of the user, is the super group or basis group, groups of users here. To identify in a basis group how many users, security group how many users, like that, you can create the group here. Otherwise, this can empty. You can provide the validity from validity user here. It should be valid from today to, and tomorrow it should be end. Only one day or only 1 month. So suppose like restrictions you can put it out here, right? So then SNC is not required for the single sign-on purpose. You can use this SNC. So if don't have SNC, you can ignore it. Defaults. Defaults means how the user logon language, the decimal notification, how is the decimal notifications here, how user want the time format, date format, DD, MM, YY, or month, DD, depends upon the thing. You can put it out here. So is the user is in the which time zone. So all those things you can assign to the user here, right? Any parameters here, nothing not required. Then role here. Role is the important here. So I am not assigning the any role here. Just I created the Ravi2 user I created here. This is the way we have to create the user. Now let me log into the Ravi2 user here now. Okay. So Ravi2, I'm logging to the system now. Okay. So now it will allow you to access the system now. It will allow you to access the system, but you cannot perform anything here. Let's test now. Okay. You have assigned the access here. Just go to SC22 here. You are not authorized to perform. SM21, you are not authorized to perform. SM51, you are not authorized to perform. So what other? SMQ1, you are not authorized to perform. Why? What is the reason? Why we are getting? You are able to log in, right? Yes, you are able to log in. User is created. But why you are unable to access any transaction code here? Because you are not authorized. You are not authorized. You are not authorized to do any activity within the SAP system here. So why? Because there is no role is assigned means which user you are. There is no role is assigned here. So then you can just go to the what is the so L1 team, monitoring L1 team you created, right? One role you created here. Just assign this role, then just click on the save button, then ask user to log off and to log in here, right? Ask user to log off and log into the system here, right? So now just go to the ST22 here. Even though you are unable to access the transaction code here, nothing you have accessed. Go to the started system. So you are able to access now system here, right? So maybe go to ST22, then you have some authorization issues here, right? Then go to ST, so go to SM21, then you are not authorized to use the SM21. Why? Why means, so the transaction codes are assigned to the your user, but in the profile you have not assigned any authorizations. Just to assign the transaction code, then you generated the profile, but you have not assigned any authorization, whether you can access the that related transactions, whether you can access the related transactions or not. So you have not assigned here. You have not assigned here. So if you go to the SMQ1, he can access, right? Few things he is able to access here. Few things he is able to access. If you enter outside of the transaction codes like SMICM, then you will see the you are not authorized to use the transaction, right? So you are getting here only for your role, for your role, you are only you are only you are only allowed to use the this particular things only. You are only allowed to use this particular things only. So you can only use the these things. But in these things also, in these tasks also, some transaction codes are working. Why? Because that don't have the, any authorization object. Some transaction codes are so not working here. Why? Because here you have not defined the any authorization object here. Authorization objects you have not defined any authorization object here, right? So that is the reason you are unable to access. Even though the role is assigned, you are unable to access in the system here, right? So just to go to the SE01 transaction code, the check here, here the role is assigned here. But even though in that role, you see there is no the transaction code assigned, but there is no authorization object is assigned here. Then in this case, you need to go to the so yes. So there is no authorization object is assigned. Go to the, so change the authorization data here. Change the authorization data. So manually provide the authorization object here. Authorization object here. Here we have to provide the authorization object. For this transaction code, what is the authorization object here? Otherwise, if you want to check more, if you want to check the more here, what we can do here, if we go to SU53, here you will see the errors here. SU53, not SU50, yeah, SU53. This is the authorization object checking here. Authorization object checking here. Your authorization is failing because of this S underscore T code is not assigned here. Then S underscore ADMI FSD, this authorization object. So these are the authorization objects here, which are not assigned to the your which are not assigned to the your group here, your role here. That is the reason, even though you are unable to access the all those things here, this authorization object we have to assign to the user here. Go to the transaction code here, just we can assign the authorization object here, then basis administrator, then just go to the here what you want to access. You want to only display access or all the full access. Then just click on the OK button, save it, then generate it. Then roles are generated, profiles are created. Then now save it. Now save it. Just you can assign this to the user here. From here also, we can assign this to the users. From here also we can assign this to the users here. Otherwise, go to the SU01, SU01, in the SU01, go to the Ravi2 user, then go to the role here, in the role, so this is already assigned, then monitoring here. Okay, so from here also we can assign to the users here. So like this, we can assign the role, or you can go to the here. So from here also you can assign the Ravi to list of user who require the access here. Just perform the comparison here, then complete the comparison. Comparison means the roles, everything, it should come to the green status here. It should be come to the green status here. Then you have assigned here. This is done. Okay, you have assigned the role to the Ravi user now. Now let's go. We have find the okay in SU53 in authorization error checking. We have find, so we have this errors to access the transaction codes. You need the access to the S_ADMI authorization object. We have to assign to the user, right? We have assigned now. We have assigned now. Now let's go to transaction code here. Just log out and log in once. Why? Because authorizations are assigned now. Just go to your ST22 here. Here, just go to the ST22 here, then and see whether you are able to access or not, right? You are able to access or not here. Go to the SM51, you are able to access or not. Yes, I am able to access this transaction code here. You are able to access SM21. Yes, I am able to access the SM21 also, right? So then you can see you are able to access this one. You are able to access this one also. Then you are able to access, just check the other transactions here which are assigned to the your user, then which is assigned here. Yes, I am able to access. Still I am having the some authorization field objects are not assigned, some authorization objects are not assigned still, but it's not a problem. Okay, but so how to assign this authorization object? Now SU53 we can find out the authorization objects, but I want to find out the which authorization, this transaction code, which authorization objects here. Go to SU22 or SU24, SU22 or 24, SU22 or SU24 for authorization object here, right? To find out the authorization object here. Go to the ST22, then you will see the transaction. Just assign the transaction codes here. What are the transaction codes here? SM21, then ST22, then SM51. You need to find out the authorization object here, right? So that's the reason you assigned here. Just click on the execute button, then you will see the what is the, just if you go to the SM21, what are the authorization objects are related to the this SM21 transaction code here. Then just click on the SM2051. What are the authorization objects related to the this particular transaction code? ST22, you can find out the what is the authorization object for this transaction code here. Right? These all are the authorization objects that will come as part of the SAP predefined authorization objects here. So it is used for, suppose this is authorization object is for the background job administration, operations of the background jobs here. This is for the BGRFC. This is for the application log SLG1. This is for the ALV related. This is for the workbench. This is for the SM61. So it depends upon your transaction code, depends upon the these are the transports related authorization objects here. Depends upon the transaction, you can find out the respective authorization object here. If you go to the SU24 also, we can find out the authorization object here. Depends upon the code, Suppose like you need access to the ST22 transaction code here. Just click on the OK button here. Then you will see the what is the authorization object for this ST22. What is the authorization object here? It will be displayed here. Object will be displayed here. SM21, ST22. So depends upon this one, you will get the authorization object here. Okay. So this authorization object, what we have to do, we have to go to the PFCG, the role which you created, go to the authorizations here, then go to the edit functions here in the bottom line, then in the bottom line, change the authorization data here. Okay. So here, what you have to do, you have to assign that authorization object to this user here. Just click on the manually. Then what is the object you want to assign it here? Suppose development. So development related things here. So just expand it, what package, what object you are trying to use here. So those things we can assign to the user here. Then go to the manually, here you can check it out. Then what other things you are going to access here. So those things we can assign to the users here. Those things we can assign to the users here. So basis related activities here, basis administration related activities here, right? So what other things he is going to access here? All the full access are, so all those things we can allocate to the authorizations here. So these authorizations are linked to the your role. These authorizations are linked to the your role here. So then based upon this authorization, your role will work. Role will add depends upon the authorization values. This role will go and perform it here. So here we can find out this role is assigned to the which users here, right? So this is the role creation, and this is the user creation in SU01 here. So we can create the user manually, or if you want to change the user, or if you want to some settings, just go to the change mode and you can change it here. You want to lock the user, suppose you want to display, you want to delete the user, you can delete it. You want to copy the user from other user. Suppose I want to copy, I don't want to again give the all the things. I want to copy from other user to this user. Then from this user to this user. So from this user to this user, you can create it. Means whatever the DDIC user is having the roles and responsibilities, full authority, same will come to the Ravi2 user also. Why? Because you are copying the users here. Instead of click on the create, filling the forms, everything, just you can use. So if you want to log the user, you can log the users also here. So you locked the user, then if you ask user to log in, then he cannot log into the SAP system here. Ravi2 user normally cannot log into the system now. Why? Because user is locked. Notify the responsible person. You cannot lock now. You cannot log in now. Then we can unlock it here. Normally, sometimes if you use the wrong password, the user will be locked from here, right? Why? Because of this reason only. Because of this reason, user cannot log into the our system here, right? So then this is the one thing. Suppose if you want to reset the password, you can go to the here, just reset the password of the user here. Just you can go to the password, reset the password. Sometimes some people, they may forget the password. They will ask you to security team actually. They will reset the password. This work will be done by the security. Just for your knowledge purpose. So I'm just explaining here. So that only this is fine. This is very so straightforward buttons and we can expand it. But only thing is the PFCG transaction code is the just confusing part here. So you can ignore this role maintenance transaction code for the roles creation and assigning the authorization objects and authorization values here, right? So this is just, you can ignore those things. You can ignore that one here. Why? Because it's not required for you. But because it's a purely security here. So normally we have the separate team called the SAP security. They will take care of the all these security parts and everything here. So here, suppose you want to mass user creation, you want to lock all the, suppose 10 users are joined. Suppose if you create the individually, it will take time. So you want to create the mass users here. Suppose like, so test users. Suppose you want to create the some users, you want to create it here, right? Suppose mass users, multiple users at a time, you want to create it here. In this case, what we can do, here, we can create the mass users here, right? Just click on here, what is the authorization data, what is the logon data. So just click on the OK button, then just click on the save button here, then all the users are created at a time, right? So there is a password also changed automatically, the password also created automatically. See, this is the password here. You see, this is the password also created here. So for this is the password, system generated password here. Normally, system will generate the password, this type of passwords here. We can reset this one. So test 10, then log into the, just go to the here, then test 10 user, what is the password? So that is the password which is system generated here. Then we can just give that one. Then we got the new password it is asking. Then set the new password, right? So then user is able to log in now.
Like one-time generated password, right?
Yeah, system,
Temporary password.
yeah, temporary system password, system generated passwords. These are the system generated passwords, all this. One time system generated. If you want to set your own, then we can set it out. Just go to the, so just go to change mode here. Then here, there is a password, new password. You can generate the deactivate, or you can generate the password also here. So just go to the here. So then if you want to enable it, initial password set by the users, just click on the save button, or to just click on the save button, the new passwords will be generated to the users here. That is also possible. If you want to lock all the users here, just lock the unlock, just lock the all the users here. All the users are locked. So all users will be locked in the systems here. So it will be locked. So all users are deactivated, locked. So they cannot log into the system. We want to delete mass user deletion. So you can delete the all the users here. Just delete. So all the users are deleted. All users will be deleted in the systems here. Deleted. So many it's possible from SU10 mass user creation. So that is the one. If you want to maintain the address data for all users here, we can maintain it here at a time. So that is the one. So here SU10 is for mass users, multiple bulk users we can create from here. So bulk users we can create from the here, you can use it in the system here. Mass user creation here. Okay. This is the mass user creation here. There is a one more. So one more thing here, one more transaction code for this one.
For mass users also, we can do it for copy user. For
Copy
single user, copy user you have told now for single user.
or yes.
For mass users also, we can do it like copy user.
Copy user, I think yes, it's possible, but we need to check where is the thing. No, it's not possible copying from other user.
Because he had multiple users now.
Yeah, multiple users. We can create it. We can change the role assignment. Yes, I think it's possible. Somewhere we need to check the here the things here where it is create copy. Copy is not there. Yeah, copy is not there. It's not possible copy. Only just creation is possible. So then deletion, manual creation, deletion, and everything is possible, but copy is not there here. So there is a one more transaction code apart from that, all this authorization object. So SU01 is for the single user creation, lock, unlock, copy, all those things we can see here. Then SU10 is for the mass users creation. So right. So then SU53 to find out the authorization errors. If any authorization error, we can find out the SU53 here. PFCG, the role maintenance, role creation, role maintenance, role generator. So all those things we can use it the so PFCG here. Then there is a EWZ file for locking the all users. It is also we can use it. So we can lock all users, we can lock it at the same time here. EWZ5 here, EWZ5 here, right? So then if you see here, all users, we can lock it single. So these all are the users are available, right? So then what we can do, so we can select it. We can choose the user. Suppose we can choose it. So we want to lock all the users here, right? So then what we can do here, just click on the lock button or select all, then we can lock it. We can lock it here. We can lock the users, unlock the users, we can perform it here. So this is possible here. Otherwise, go to the SU10, there also, so we can lock it here. There also we can lock it here. Already see here, basis 1, basis 2, 3, 4, already locked here. Then we can unlock it here. So unlock it here. We can use this one also, lock and unlock the users here, right? So then audit, same time, audit, we discussed SM19, SM20 layer, which is kind of security auditing purpose, security audit logs here, auditing policies, audits enabling. So we can use this transaction code here. All right. So yeah. So these are the, and also for one role, so we can assign the 114,000 transaction codes. We can assign here one role, 14,000 transaction codes we can assign to the, we can assign here one role, 14 transaction codes. So we can assign here one role, we can assign the 14 transaction codes we can assign to the users here. That is the one thing here. So suppose so 19 and 20 you are creating the security logs here. Then SM18 to delete the old audit logs. Suppose you want to delete the old audit logs, just to go to the SM18. So we can delete the old audit logs here, which are those 30 days old. All those things we can delete it here only. So 0 deleted, still 2 exist. So only few days back only we executed, just to execute the 7, then deleted, yeah, 2 deleted here, right? 7 days old data I deleted here. 7 days old data I deleted. So delete these things here, right? Here SAP underscore all. These are the all actually. So normally SAP star and DDIC are having the SAP underscore all authorization. All means, so who are having this role, who are having this profile, so they can perform the all the activities here, all the activities in the system. There is no restriction. We can perform the all the access in the systems here. Okay. So this is the one. That's why, so DDIC, if you go to the DDIC, so in SU01, if you go to the DDIC, then you see the, so this user has SAP underscore all authorization, right? If we go to the basis user, he is having SAP underscore all. That's why you are able to access the all the transaction codes and everything here, right? So that is the main thing you should be remember here. Okay. So that is the main thing here. Okay. Just this small topic. It's a very big topic, but don't go very deep dive. You will get confused, and also no one going to ask questions on the security part here, because it's a security. Just for your understanding purpose, some knowledge, some level knowledge, like how to create the user. SE01 we can create, how to unlock the user, how to reset. These things we should know, right? Some basic things we should know. That's why, so I explained about the security topic here. Okay. Just to try to use the concept, just authorizations and roles concept, just you can ignore it. It's a very confusing topic for everyone. We have a lot more to discuss about the security, lot. So in the security also, we have a separate team here. Here we have the GRC security, HR security, then BPC security, R3 security. Now we discussed only R3 security. We have many securities are there here. We have the 4 parts here. So security team, they will learn the all these securities and everything here. So which is not required for us. Okay. Just to, if user locked, how to unlock, user creation, how to create the user. So user password reset, how to do that one. These things. So minimum things. So you should learn about these things here. Okay.
So do you take security module as well or
No,
separately?
no,
Like, do you teach security module as well separately?
no. Are you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can hear.
Okay, okay,
Because
perfect.
sir, as per your knowledge, like it looks like you have worked in security as well.
No, no, no. Only little bit, some parts in the security, not the major part in the security. Even I don't know HR security, and okay, let me. Even I don't.